Hello, everyone. Welcome to Horror Month, and we're back with another one of the animated horror stories. So, a while ago, reacted to a worm, which, think about it, feels like it's allegation or allegory for STD because it's able to transfer to person. But I'm not completely sure. I could be wrong, but it's another. Here's another one: the Pines Creepers. I'm honestly excited for that. So, without delay, let's just start this thing.
I'll never forget the summer of '95. I was 13 that year. A heat wave had set in, making it one of the hottest Julys on record. The house I grew up in on Lake Michigan didn't have air conditioning.
Ooh, that sucks.
Most of the time, that was fine. At night, a breeze would come in off the water, so just an open window was usually enough to cool things down and sleep pretty comfortably. But not that summer. That summer was different.
Why was it different?
Some of my friends and I had taken to camping outside to try and escape the heat.
What?
Jordy Baker, Augie McLean, and me. I don't know if it really made all that much difference. I think maybe we just liked being together.
Yeah, being
That made it
together
easier
inside.
to get through.
If it's going to be that hot, then maybe stay inside where you're not going to die of a heat stroke.
I can't remember the first day I met Jordy. We lived on the same street in our small town and we did everything together. He was my best friend. It felt like it had always been that way. Augie was a quiet kid back then, but you wouldn't know it when we were alone. So much so that his big mouth got us kicked out of my backyard. Dad had to be up at 5 for work, and he didn't exactly appreciate Augie's high-pitched laugh the same way Jordy and I did. There was a clearing in the pines behind Jordy's house where we used to hang out sometimes, so we decided to set up camp back there.
With an
An
abandoned
old,
car.
rusted-out Buick Century marked the spot. I always wondered whose car that used to be. Back before it became part of the woods, I mean. Thinking
Let's
about it
hope you
now,
don't find
I'm
out.
not even really sure how it got out there through the trees in the first place. We'd cleaned out the broken glass and the cigarette butts left behind by the neighborhood teenagers, and we made a fire pit out of one of the wheel rims Jordy managed to pry off.
Oh, that's pretty cool,
The
actually.
mosquitoes out there were ruthless at sundown, and dry, prickly needles covered the ground with a thick blanket under the trees. The only thing I hated more than that feeling under my feet when I wasn't wearing any shoes was the crunching sound they made whenever I was. It wasn't all that cozy of a spot, but at least it was private. A place far enough away from the rest of the world that we could stay up all night laughing and no one would care.
Going to regret that decision very
Jordy
soon.
had skimmed some beer from a case in the basement that his dad was working on. 4 bottles of lukewarm lager to share between us. Not exactly a blowout, but not enough that Mr. Baker would miss him either.
Oh, what idiot
I don't
kids.
drink much beer these days, but even just the smell of it always brings me back to that night.
Is it a good or bad thing?
The hours slipped past as we stoked the fire, talking about nothing in particular. That half a sip of beer must have gone right to Augie's head as he called it a night pretty early on without even finishing 1 bottle. We didn't mind. More for us. At some point, Jordy brought up what happened to Pike Lister.
Who? Oh no, poor doggy. We better not see a dog get hurt.
Pike was 2 grades ahead of me in school, and he'd probably failed a couple on top of that. He was big, and everybody was scared of him. On a Friday, that past November, Pike left school after his usual extra hour of detention to walk home.
He
And
never
that
come
was
back?
the last time anybody saw him.
Oh.
The search lasted for weeks. They never found anything. Some people said he just took off, ran away from home. Others thought he might have drowned in the lake accidentally.
They would find
Not
him.
Jordy, though. I listened quietly as he laid it all out. How his
Someone might have
dad
killed
said
him.
it wasn't the first time something like this had happened around here.
Hmm?
How back in the 70s, 4 people disappeared without a trace. And how around that same time, locals had started seeing something in the woods that wrapped around our town. Pale creatures with large eyes and long limbs creeped around on all 4s. The Pine Creepers.
Weird name.
That's what we called them anyway. Jordy figured that's what happened to Pike. The Pine Creepers must have got him. I laughed him off and eagerly changed the subject. We ended up burning a couple more sticks before letting the fire die and heading to bed. One of us could take the back of the Buick, and the other had to sleep in the tent with Augie. To call it a 2-man tent was being generous. I
Barely
offered
any
to
room
bite
for
the
one?
bullet, or at least that's what I let Jordy think. I'd never admit it at the time, but the truth is, all that talk about the creepers had me a little scared. Augie's snoring and spooning seemed like a fair price to pay if I didn't have to be alone outside.
What the hell? That was the
After
last
all,
day you saw him.
If they could take Pike Lister, what chance did any of us have? I'm not sure what time it was when I woke up. It was still dark out, and I could hear rain coming down outside. For the first few minutes, I just laid there, listening to the steady sound of the drops against the tent.
Oh, that's a good sound. Oh, that's
It
relaxing.
wasn't long before I realized that beer had gone right through me, and I wasn't going to be able to hold it.
Ew, boy.
I fumbled around until I found the lantern, and I made my way outside.
Oh, that's not good.
The
You should have
night
brought an
air
umbrella.
had cooled down a bit with the rain, which felt nice.
Why's the trunk still
The
open?
whole sky was clouded over, blocking out any light from the moon or the stars. My eyes finally started adjusting to the dark.
Surprised it didn't
That was
beforehand.
when I noticed it. Something catching the light just beyond the edge of the clearing. A dim, reflective shine that flickered as I moved the lantern. It took me a second to realize what I was looking at.
Oh my gosh!
Eyes watching me.
And pine
It was hard to
crawlers.
see much of what those eyes belonged to. I knew what they were. Pine creepers.
They're creepers, not crawlers.
My pulse pounded in my ears as we stared each other down. I carefully started backing up, never once looking away.
Right into
I
one.
wanted to turn and run so badly, but just kept slowly taking one step after another. I got back into the tent as quickly as I could without making much noise. Maybe if I was quiet enough, those things would move along. I thought about waking Augie, but didn't want him to freak out and draw attention to us.
What about your other
Seconds
friend?
passed. Nothing. The rustling of the trees and the calm drone of the rain. Just as I started to think that maybe I'd overreacted, maybe my mind could be playing tricks on me,
Very true.
it started. That familiar, awful sound. The crunch of those needles.
Ugh, chills up my spine.
There was something moving around outside the tent.
That's why you need to close the
I did
trunk.
my best to hold my breath. The worst part of it all is I knew Jordy was out there, alone. I kept telling myself he wouldn't wake up. He was safer in the Buick. That I should stay still, stay quiet. I laid there, and I kept listening for what felt like forever. I was too scared to do anything else. I never woke up Augie. I never called out to Jordy. I never did anything.
It's okay, man. It's okay. Don't blame yourself. But seriously, close the damn trunk. Let's just hope Jordy survived.
The hours passed, and I must have fallen asleep for a few minutes because the next thing I knew, the birds had suddenly started chirping, and even from inside the tent, I could tell it was getting light out. I gathered any bit of courage I had, threw the sleeping bag off, and gave Augie a shove. I climbed out of the tent first, but he wasn't far behind me. Part of me believed that the pine creepers were still out there, just waiting for me to slip up. When I saw the Buick, I got this awful feeling in the
Is
pit
he not
of my
there?
stomach. It was empty.
That's why you closed the damn trunk!
Jordy was just gone. On the way back to his house, I kept telling myself, we'll find him there. He just got up early and he wanted the comfort of his own bed. He wasn't there. We waited around all day, but he never came home. By the evening, our whole town was in a frenzy looking for him. I never told anybody about what I saw that night. Not even Augie.
Yeah, I don't think anyone would
Nobody
believe you.
believed me anyway. I've played it over and over in my head. I'll never forget the summer of '95. That was the year Jordy Baker went missing.
Not gonna lie, honestly feel like this one wasn't as good in my opinion. It had its creepy moments, I will give it that. Like the Nightcrawler designs, honestly, were kind of creepy. But the Worm honestly had more horror in it, in my opinion. The Worm was a lot better. I don't remember much. I just remember it just did give me a lot of chills, especially in the beginning part. But this one, I don't know. It just didn't feel as good in my opinion, but I still liked it. The Pine Creepers were really good. It just sucks that maybe it could have been avoided if they closed the damn trunk. Like, seriously, if the hatch was broken, grab some damn rope or something to close it. They honestly did that to themselves. That was an idiot move. Even if there wasn't the Pine Creepers out there, just tie the damn thing down. Just, oh my gosh, that's probably the thing that I hate the most about it, is the fact that they didn't close the fucking trunk. Like, seriously, even if there wasn't the Nightcrawlers, there's still animals out there, like a bear, raccoon, deers, all that stuff that could have gotten into the trunk as well while he was sleeping. Just close the damn trunk. I know their windows are open, but still, there's glass there, and I don't think the animals will want to get cut or stabbed by glass. Oh boy. I don't know. I still did like it. This was a nice little video, and I do plan to react to more of these ones. They were fun. But for now, I'll see you in whatever I post next. Bye, guys.